Good morning and welcome to the Mayor's Weekly, and we're so pleased to be with you. And today, before we get into the main program, I have some questions to answer. And at the outset of starting the Mayor's Weekly, we told you we'd solicit questions, and if you sent us your questions, we would make every attempt to answer them. And this morning we have three questions coming from Bill Hayden. Bill lives on Ridgewood Road, and Bill, let me thank you for your questions. They're good questions, and let me see if I can do an adequate job in answering those questions. Question number one is, what is the latest on Walker County Lake? Did the state improve the building? Any update on a manager or a concierge? We thought there was going to be an opportunity whereby the city would take over the administrative side of the Walker County Lake, and I underscore administrative side of it. The aquatic side and that sort of thing would remain with the Department of Conservation. As we got into those discussions and we began to learn more about the situation, one of the things the city would have had to have done would have been to hire a concessionaire. In that process, we learned that the facility that houses the bait shop, and I think there's some living quarters there as well, that the condition of that facility was such that we didn't feel that we could recruit a concessionaire to go there and put down and be in business, and that person has to rely solely on the generation of revenue from the operation of the lake for their livelihood. And so that was the big hurdle, and as a consequence of that, we were not able to enter into an agreement with the State Department of Conservation. I'm not aware of any improvements being made to that building, but that building is not open for inspection, so that's speculation on my part. We have been told that a manager has been hired. Is that correct? I do not know, and I would share with you that I have not heard of an opening date as of now. But again, we, in our discussion with the Department of Conservation, we're diplomatic, but we just couldn't reach an agreement whereby we felt that we could operate the lake in a manner that we'd like to operate it and it not reflect adversely on the city. So that's where we're at. If we learn more, I'll certainly share it. Question two, what is the status and next steps of the Sportsplex? The architect continues to work on that. The architect's under contract. The money to build the Sportsplex is in place. As we know, Walker County is ugly from a topographical standpoint, but we own the land. The location on industrial is a strategic location. We could probably buy land for the same money that we'll spend on site preparation, but my math says that's the same thing. If you have to buy land, have that, and any location we would buy would not be nearly as strategic. Why do I say strategic? Close to I-22, close to lodging, and close to more development that is coming our way. We're hopeful that we'll have the final plans. The architect is trying to revise the layout to make it fit the site, that we can put that project out for bid by the end of the first quarter. And I can't guarantee that, but that's our hope. But again, the important thing, architects under contract, we're paying them. I sign the checks, and we hope to hear from them any day, and hopefully we can be in a position to put that out for bid before the end of the quarter. Third question, you mentioned that Rural King is projected to be the third generator of sales tax. Who are the current top 5 sales tax companies? That comment was made in somewhat of a speculative nature, in that in our negotiations with Rural King, they told us what they projected they would do in sales volume. those numbers have not been disclosed, will not be disclosed. And I say speculative in this sense. If they do what they project, it would probably make them the number 3 sales tax producer in the city. Sales tax generation information is held confidential. Once Rural King comes to town, if they achieve the number 3, that will never be disclosed. But I would expect, Bill, that you do a little guessing and you'd be pretty accurate who the top producers are. But that information is protected, and certainly not trying to dodge the question. We have people that come fairly often that maybe want to put in a competitive business, and they ask, well, what is business ABC doing? We can't disclose that. We don't. That wouldn't be right, but that's some policy that we have. So will Rural King achieve the number 3 status? I don't know. And if they do or don't, that will not be disclosed and discussed. But appreciate your questions, Bill, and as you know, you send them our way, and we'll do everything we can to give you an answer. If there are any shortfalls on the answers I provided this morning, please let me hear from you. Now, on to our program this morning, I have joining me Renita Waldrop. We have many, many bright spots in this city, and when you find a bright spot and you start tracing it out, generally you find your way to the leadership. At our senior center, that's certainly true. Renita looks after our senior center and just does an absolute marvelous job and providing opportunities for our senior citizens to socialize and just do all sorts of things. And I always look forward to going to the senior center. Renita invites me from time to time to go there and visit with the folks that are taking part in senior center activities. And yesterday they had a special guest, and Renita, I'll let you tell about that, and maybe tell how you brought that together, and from there maybe we lead into some of the things you do, and then I'll have a few questions.
Absolutely. Having Jane Spann there yesterday was such a pleasure and, such an honor. There's a lot of important people in Alabama. When you think of Alabama, you think of football,
Right.
And everybody loves, Nick Saban. And then when you think of weather, you think of James Spann. He's pretty popular and, a great weatherman. And it was an honor to be able to invite him to the Jasper Senior Center so that everyone together and, just enjoy being around everybody and just, learning who he is. And a lot of people expected for him to talk about the weather, but he actually talked about his life stories and just his faith. And one of the things he mentioned was, if you want to be a blessing, bless somebody else. And that is something, I try to do every morning. I wake up, I say, what can I do to help somebody today? What can I do to make somebody's day bright? Because, we have a lot of seniors who don't have a spouse, that's passed away. And it's just an honor to be able to be there for them and be their friend.
Now, Renita, let me ask you this. Did you reach out to James Spann and invite him and he came? Or?
Yes, sir. I sent him an email and asked, would he be able to come to the senior center, and he said, absolutely, I would. So we did that a couple of months ago and got that lined up for February the 8th, which was yesterday at 10 o'clock, and we had a big crowd, so it turned out great.
Well, kind of in line with what James Spann, if you don't do anything, you can't make anything happen.
That's
I tip
right.
my hat to you reaching out to James Spann and having him come here. I know our senior citizens that come to the center enjoyed that. Just kind of foundational to the things we talk about this morning, the senior center, and Renita's been with us before, and we've talked about this, but it's worth being talked about again. The senior center's operation, the folks that work with you, every bit of that is covered in the city budget, is it not?
That's right.
And so when I go there and I see a lot of people, and people ask me about things, and it leads you to understanding that they don't live in the city. To come to our senior center, you don't have to have a Jasper address, do you?
That's right. We have people from Dora, from Carbon Hill to Gardendale. Actually, we have someone come all the way from Gardendale, so it's a great place for everyone to come.
Right. Now, Renita, do you call on these folks to pay any money to come to your center? And
Yes, we do. To join the senior center, there's no cost. But to actually do an activity, if we do art classes or arts and craft, we actually charge $10 a month.
okay. Now, yesterday, I know once a month you have a lunch. It's generally once a month, isn't it?
That's right.
And you didn't call on those folks to pay for that, did you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that is a really a nice service for those folks. Renita, just overall, what does a day, week, and month look like? We have these special days like yesterday where you invite folks to come in, and just a normal week. Maybe share with them what that might look like, Renita.
Absolutely. We have in front of me is our February calendar. And so this month, this last Wednesday, we had the Waylighters Quartet, which is a gospel group. So we try to do entertainment as well. And we also had a potluck lunch, which consists of all the singers bringing food so they could all be together. Thursdays and Fridays, we kind of do like an educational classes, which is our arts and craft or art class. We have a great teacher, which is Barbara. Mm-hmm. She's great at doing that. On Tuesdays, we have coffee time, and we do kind of like a music and movement. And we have a guy that comes and he volunteers his time and plays music so they could, be kind of active, get a little bit of exercise in, and, just socialize. So that's a good thing. This past Wednesday, we had James Spann with WBRC, ABC, 3340. Next week, we are going to have, on a Wednesday, a Medicare educational class. So this is very good for people who are on Medicare or have questions about what Medicare consists of. And so we'll have somebody come and speak about that at 10 o'clock. And then after that, we're going to have our Valentine's Luncheon, which is another great thing that we do once a month. Also, on February the 22nd, we're going to have a Health and Wealth. That'll be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then after that, we're going to have Sigma Medicare, which is going to do bingo. And everybody loves to do that. So on Wednesdays, we try to make it like a social day where everybody come together and just do bingo, penny auction, or listen to music, or just a special guest to do an educational class. So it's a pretty filled up month that we have.
Well, yesterday I think you had maybe a two-prong program. When I arrived, I missed seeing James Spann. I tied up, and I would like to have spoken to him, thank him for coming to Jasper.
Yes.
We had a lady, I think, talking about ways to reduce the risk of diabetes. Is that right yesterday? And
That's correct.
there was a handout, and that person was from some health agency, or do you?
That's correct. She's actually with the M4A, which is the middle agency program that we do at the senior building, where we give out meals to those who pick up or who's homebound. So she's a part of that program. And so she was able to come and speak with the seniors about, what to put in your body, what's healthy, and what to avoid to, avoid diabetes maybe down the road, or if you may be dealing with diabetes, what can you do to control that?
Okay. Hey, Renita, of course, on special days like yesterday, I'm sure your participation ratchets up somewhat. But on any given day when you're having activities and that, so how many folks will you see come through the senior center roughly? I know you don't have, you can't say precisely, but normally.
On a normal day, day to day, we will see from our art classes, we may have 8 to 15 people in a classroom. On our Wednesday days, which is our big days, we may see up to 45 to 50 people.
Well, Renita, we talked some time ago, and I think it worked out to get this in place for you, and I've seen it. You have a room there, it has a billiard table and some other things. So if you're a member of the senior center, if people wanted to come there, they don't have to have an appointment, they can come there and do those things. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, let's talk about this. If a senior to qualify, I believe it starts, qualifying age, the floor is 50?
50 and above.
50 and above.
That's right.
If they wanted to be a part, if they wanted to, what do they need to do? Or if they just want to come observe and see if that might be activities they want to be a part of, how would that work, Renita?
Absolutely. We've had people reach out just from the newspaper, telling about the senior building, and they may ask, what do we do to join the senior building? So I tell them, you're welcome to come in. We'll give you a tour of the building. You're welcome to just sit and, see if you may like art classes. If you're not an art person, you can sit in and on our educational classes, or just, see where you might fit in, maybe just social. So we tell them, you just come, fill out an application. Once you do that application, you become a member, and you're welcome to do any activity that we have available.
Yeah. Now, Renita, if somebody wanted to call, should they just call the city and ask for you or ask for the senior center,
That's
and
right.
we'll route the call to your area?
That's right.
Right, okay, we do that. Well, it really is a bright spot in our city and a great service for our senior citizens, and I appreciate the great job that Renita does. And if you have an interest, think you have an interest, and there's no obligation. Come take a look, and if it's something that you want to be a part of, we'd be delighted to have you join, and be surprised if you disappointed in being a part of that. Just a great group of folks, and yesterday they have so much fun, they have food, and I always look forward to working my way around and talking with senior citizens and answering their questions. And there were quite a few of them yesterday. Some of them call on me to fix some things that fall outside my jurisdiction. I say, I'm sorry, I don't have any authority out there, but they understand that and appreciate that. So,
Yeah.
so glad to have you with us, Renita. Thank
Sir.
you for
Thank you.
coming and sharing about the senior center. And again, Bill, thank you for your questions. Others, if you have questions, you send them our way. We'll get answers, and we'll look forward to being with you next week.